been playing the Motorfest closed beta on PS5 almost exclusively since it released, minus a day because I haven't received the code on the first day. And so far I have lots of good things to say for somebody who's been playing the crew ever since the first closed beta way back in 2014. The gameplay you are watching has all been recorded with Share Factory, with the game settings being towards graphical fidelity. And if you couldn't already tell, this is going to be quite the talkative video, which isn't like my usual stuff, but if you're interested, please stick around. I'm going to be spewing my brain, and it's going to be a whole bunch of bullshit. Probably the most important part of any video game ever, especially racing, is the physics. And the physics are good. Cars are no longer point and shoot. And by that I mean all vehicles have weight behind them. The suspension moves and sways and bottoms out. The tires sink into the sand after you do burnout and rub on the fender lining after big bumps. You feel those tires lose grip when you apply throttle way too early into the corner, or the loss of lateral grip when you come into a turn far too hot. The physics actually have depth to them, and as someone who has way more hours in both of the previous titles than I would care to admit, this is a very welcome change. And as far as betas go, there's been a shocking amount of polish present. I mean, there's been some connection issues, of course. The most prevalent in my experience was free rides with crews have been exceptionally choppy. Sometimes me and my friends would see each other for less than a mile and disappear into nothingness, only to suddenly reappear randomly throughout the cruise. And once on the Battle Royale mode, don't worry, I'll get to it. The game finished up, but the winner's circle took a while to sync or load or something, and after a 10-minute game, I was placed back into free roam followed by an error message. But that's all I can really call right now, and the beta is still live at the time of making this. This could be too soon to tell, but Motorfest, as of making this video, feels pretty put together. I haven't seen any major gameplay glitches. I mean, sometimes the traffic drives on the wrong side of the road, and then there's that stuttering, the crew stuttering, that I was just talking about. And I can count on one hand how many cars I drove wearing the starter jacket, and it had clipping issues with the steering wheel and the driver's wrists. Now, I can't in good conscience start griping about the game's glitches and such without bringing up the fact that the game is better without voices in it outright. No offense to the voice actors, but the AI especially, I don't know if it's the voice filter they gave it or what. I just can't stand it. And on top of the characters constantly chatting to each other about the car history or this thing is this because of this every 30 seconds, I had to turn voices off not even an hour into my game time. I have heard of a want to just turn off the AI voice but still have the characters talking, and honestly this should be an option. People do like story, and honestly the AI, I don't know, just let me turn it off. It serves me no purpose talking to me and boosting my ego. It's an AI, I don't need it. While I'm on the topic of issues I have, one thing that still irks me is the lack of customizable controller or wheel inputs. You would think after 3 games they would figure this out, but no, they still force players to race claw if you want manual or whatever the 9 or 10 button configurations are. I mean, personally, I like my shifter buttons to be my face buttons. The lack of controller input customization is unacceptable in this day and age of racing games. Give me the ability to give me what I want and just have this not be a problem. Most everyone I know is still on the first setting out of the 10 settings they give you in this game, and most of them suck, which is why everyone sticks to the first one, because it's what they force on you. Just give us the option to make our own damn inputs. Moving on to a better topic, a lot of the new cars they've shown so far have been mainly welcome additions. In case you don't know, not all of the new cars in this game are present during the beta. Like, for example, I saw the 2024 BMW M3 being driven by AI in a single-player race, but you don't actually see it for sale when you go to BMW. This is just going to be a beta thing. Pretty much all the vehicles are going to be buyable at release, except for the old Crew 2 Motor Pass cars. I don't believe those will be buyable. Some cars from Crew 2 are undrivable in the beta, like the Evo 10 Red Fury is just, I can't drive it in free roam. And the Boss 429 isn't accessible in free roam, but you actually use it in a single player race. So there's some funkiness with the beta, but this should all be fixed by the time the full game comes out. Going back to the physics, the variations between each class and their strengths and weaknesses have been further highlighted. Example, a race car with slicks will not agree with the Forza style corner cut at all. Rally Raid can only go around 130, 155, but they do that almost anywhere. Rallycross will kick a Rally Raid ass on the trails, but go into the sunflower fields, that's not going to be the case. There's too many examples to give in one video, but it's a great addition and it needs to be felt to really appreciate. That being said, there are some fantastic PvP modes in the closed beta. Lacking a basic PvP like the last game where everyone just drove Street or Hyper, there's a Grand Race, one of the best game modes I've played in a while. A 24 to 32 player race in a multi-class point-to-point through 3 different vehicle classes. It's exactly as crazy as it sounds. If you don't break away from the pack fast, you're fighting through the whole race. And then there's this Battle Royale, which I touched on briefly. Now, I'm sure all of us are well and burnt out of the BR craze, but I gotta say it was like I rediscovered Battle Royale. Now, I don't think it'll be like that for everyone, but I had a lot of fun with this game mode. And I hate to draw so many comparisons, but like, come on, look at it. It's different from Forza's Battle Royale. You don't race 1v1 and bet your car and try to level up and be the last driver. It's more like a PUBG or Warzone, skipping the Battle Royale rules we all know. You fly towards the zone, look at the landscape, try to find power-ups scattered across the zone, ranging from health, shields, and impact damage increases. On top of it all, every single player has access to an ultimate, the ability to go Super Saiyan, turning into a monster truck. You can charge your ult by either hitting other players really hard or picking up ult charges scattered across the zone. I mean, obviously you hit harder and you can take more hits as a monster truck, but you're not invincible. I found that out the hard way. This map is good. Everywhere you look, there's a sight to behold, a road to rip through. The foliage is varied, the landscape vertical and twisting, but it also has smooth and fast areas. Obstacles scatter the sides of the road and can slow you down, but a lot of it's destructible and it rarely ruins your race. The keyword being rarely. It does happen. However, having said all of this, it's still probably too soon to tell, being the game's not even out yet, so take this with a pinch. I question the game's overall staying power. I mean, it's an obvious and unapologetic clone of Horizon. It's indisputable. And I was honestly talking a lot of shit on this game when I first saw the announcement trailers about 5 months ago now. I mean, I do get a lot of Horizon 3 vibes, funnily enough. In some races with all the balloons and race decorations, I get some Pro Street vibes. Might have something to do with me turning the voices off, but whatever. Horizon has nailed the formula at this point. And even the Horizon fanbase is starting to get tired with those games. And unfortunately, being a crew game, the map size should probably be mentioned. Personally, as of making this, I think the map is a good size. But when you compare it to the last game, there's a bit of this feeling of, that's it? And admittedly, the few times I just went on a drive, I never got quite as lost as I did on the last maps. It had only been 3 days with the game, and I'm fairly familiar with Oahu as a map. I mean, and Crew 2, I'm still discovering roads 5 years later. If Ivory Tower wants this game to last as long as the last one, I don't think it's gonna be possible. Now, I should probably bring this up. This is just rumor mill here, but there's lots of speculation that there is going to be further expansions to the map size, but I think this is mainly due to fans wanting more out of, frankly, a really good game. And a lot of what it's delivering is delivering good. I mean, like I keep bringing home the physics, they feel like cars. It's not an arcade, well, it is an arcade game, but you get what I mean. The cars feel like cars, the planes feel like planes. Boats, avoid them as much as possible. I personally don't like the boats, but you know, different strokes for different folks. It's, at the time of recording this last section, the beta just ended, and I'm already missing it. For me to be saying such nice things after being such a hater on the announcement, after only 3 days of gameplay, this must go and show the leaps and bounds of progress that the game has made between the second one and this third series of the Crew. It is night and day difference between the two games. But map size isn't the end all be all. You can see the polish here. You can feel the love put into the game. You can see the work effort on a lot of the vehicles. All of this is to say that really this is a fantastic game, and I appreciate the effort that the developers have clearly put into this to make a significantly better game than the last two titles. I can feel that this is what they want the game to be. This is the direction that they want this game to go. It is unapologetic in its Forza-ness, but it's doing so in a way with polish and respect to other games that it doesn't come off feeling as gross as it looked in the announcement trailers. And I like the game as somebody who's grown tired of the Forza franchise. This is a labor of love, and I appreciate it for that. Now, it isn't perfect. It does still have its flaws, like I was talking about earlier. Due to it being a beta, the servers are choppy, connection between friends was inconsistent, especially with my ones overseas. Like, I might as well not even try with some friends to play a game just because there's a 3,000-mile difference between us. And the lack of customizable controller inputs is a serious problem and needs to be fixed. I don't know why in 2023 coming on 2024 we still have a lack of customizable controller inputs. It's just standard in this day and age. But even with the flaws, the ugly and the good, the good far outshines the bad. This is my first time making one of these videos, and I think it's kind of obvious. It's a little all over the place, kind of convoluted. Sometimes I'm following a script, sometimes I'm just talking off the top of my head. But if you made it this far, I must be doing something right. So if you're still listening to me, how about hitting the like and subscribing? Because I don't make videos all the time, but when I do, I try and make it quality because I care about you guys who watch my stuff enough. And no, I shouldn't say that. Anyways, thanks for watching and letting me waste more than a couple minutes of your time. Have a good day, and see you when I see you.